I'm AJ Hamlin, and I teach in the Engineering Fundamentals Department at Michigan Tech.
My name is Ann Satterback, and I teach the Freshman Engineering Design course at Rice University. A work breakdown structure is a visual tool used to break down a large project into smaller tasks. A work breakdown structure shows the decomposition of these tasks in a hierarchical way. Work breakdown structures typically have a tree structure with specific tasks or subtasks shown in each box. Work breakdown structures are organized around the primary products or outcomes of a project. Making a work breakdown structure is usually the first step in creating a Gantt chart.
So we're going to talk next about how to create our work breakdown structure. The first step in creating our work breakdown structure is going to be to create a list of all the tasks that we can think of. Secondly, we're going to break that into smaller subtasks.
Remember that tasks and subtasks on the work breakdown structure are typically products: physical, digital, or text-based. Now, there are two places to look for these products when creating your work breakdown structure. The first is the class deliverables. The second are steps in the engineering design process.
Deliverables are things that you may need to deliver to a client. It might be a prototype or a oral presentation or a written report. We can also think about the different steps of the design process and look at all the steps that you need to complete for that. So documentation is going to be an important part of that. You may need to brainstorm some ideas for different designs.
Let's look at an example of this first step, list major tasks. We're going to use as an example the work breakdown structure for the team Houston We Have Coffee. This team was designing a condiment proportioning system for coffee to be used by astronauts on the International Space Station. Now, at this point in the project, the team may not know the number of prototypes or be certain about the design blocks in their project. However, they need to use their best professional judgment to select these high-level tasks. In the first option, we can define the major tasks as conceptual design, physical prototypes, and communication. A second option, the major tasks, could be conceptual design, prototype 1, prototype 2, prototype 3, written reports, and oral presentation. A third option could be conceptual design, and then the design blocks of adapter, crank, roller housing, tube feeder, plus communication. A fourth option could be design context review, solution options, decision matrix, prototypes, test results, and communication. Comparing example 1 to example 2, you see that in example 2, the sequential prototypes 1, 2, and 3 are each listed as major tasks, whereas in example 1, only one major task of prototype is given. In example 2, the sequential iterative prototypes of 1, 2, and 3 are given, whereas in example 3, the design blocks of adapter, crank, roller housing, and tube feeder comprise the major tasks. In example 4, the major tasks align with the engineering design process from the design context review to the test results. So as you can see, there are several strategies to decompose a project into major tasks to complete step 1 of creating a work breakdown structure. The second step is to create a list of subtasks. This means breaking up a major task into 2 or more subtasks. There may be layers and layers of subtasks.
So on the second step, when we are breaking our tasks into smaller subtasks, We're going to want to break them down until we can easily identify who is going to be responsible for each of those tasks and how long it's going to take us. So when we're looking at who is going to be responsible for a task, we want to identify a single person so that that person is going to be the one who is going to be in charge of making sure that deliverable or that task is completed. Other people can certainly contribute to that particular task. If we can't figure out who is going to do the task, then we'll certainly need to break that down into a smaller task. It may be difficult to estimate your time, and you can do the best estimate that you can and give yourself a little room for safety and multiply your estimate by 2.
Let's return to example 3 of the work breakdown structure for Houston We Have Coffee. The team decomposed the major task design blocks into 4 subtasks: adapter, crank, roller housing, and tube feeder. With just these 4 design blocks, the team still may have a hard time knowing what to do. This suggests the team may need to keep breaking down tasks to create more subtasks. Let's zoom in on the subtask of the roller housing. The team predicts it will make 4 prototypes, so there are 4 subtasks listed: low fidelity at a large scale, low fidelity at scale, and 2 iterations of a 3D printed prototype. Even though 4 subtasks have been identified, it is still hard for the team to estimate the time needed to complete a subtask. In addition, the skills for each subtask are fuzzy, so it is hard to assign a person to each subtask. So let's zoom in on the low fidelity 2-scale prototype. Creating additional subtasks could include selecting supplies, cutting PVC, cutting acrylic, and assembly. The team can break down these tasks even further. For cut acrylic, that could include sketch, CAD, cut, and sand. Depending on the experience of the team, the subtask cut acrylic may be sufficient. However, if it is the team's first time to use the laser cutter, using the decomposed tasks, sketch, CAD, cut, and sand, may be helpful.
So in summary, to create a work breakdown structure, we need to think about the different tasks. Secondly, break them down into subtasks. And this is going to be, again, our first step in creating our Gantt chart.